Hi, this is Sally Morgan, physical therapist, craniosacral therapist, and Tellington TTouch practitioner for animals and people. We're starting late today because I am not recovered from this trip. I slept, 6, 7, 8, 10 hours last night, which is highly unusual. I barely get 5.5 hours on a normal night. So I'm still exhausted. There's no doubt about it. And I'm trying to do my taxes, so being clear-headed is really important right now. And I'm probably 60% done with that. And we will do a special show on taxes in a couple of days, weeks, whatever. So today, I want to talk about something that we spent quite an amount of time with at the celebration and that I have not talked about before here. And that can be really important if you're a trainer or if you work with rescue dogs or if you foster rescue dogs. One of the number one problems people have with dogs from the shelter, well, any dog, is that they pull on the leash. And this is a big problem. It injures people. It injures dogs. People frequently buy the wrong harness, as you know from my other talks. I mean, not having a TTouch harness is a really big problem for a dog that pulls. It is nearly impossible to stop them with some of these meshy harnesses and other stuff that is sold all over Facebook and the internet. And certainly the trainer I had with Tristan did this thing, which lots of trainers do, where as soon as the dog pulls, you stop moving. And then as soon as he stops pulling, you proceed on. Well, if your dog is an inveterate puller, great, but he's not going to stop pulling ever, so you'll never move. And the dog doesn't understand. I mean, and it's the basic idea we use with TTouch in that circumstance, which is the dog can't learn to not pull if he doesn't have that freedom of the leash being slack at some point during his pulling cycle. So one of the tools we have among the many with TTouch is what we call the Bee Line. And it's B-E-E because everything we do is named after an animal, so you'll remember it. So we have these kind of snaps, which you can get online, or lots of feed stores have these. So it swivels on the end and it's a loop. And then we've got this nice sturdy hook on the end. They're stainless steel. People use these for a lot of things. If you make your own leashes out of braided leather, you know where to get these. So I'm using the bigger of the two I have today. I have a smaller size too, this little fella here. You can see the two sizes. They have a third size that we use on horses to do the same thing, only you hook it underneath the halter. So I'm going to hook this on the back two tabs on his harness, which is in fact a TTouch harness. And this way, if he turns or I turn right or left, this is just going to swivel around and the dog and I will be going in the right direction together. So then we take one of these long ropes. We do a lot of things with ropes in TTouch because they are your friend, and we get this from our work with horses. But certainly being good with ropes helps you with your dog work, and I certainly have way more rope skills than your average dog owner, mostly from doing TTouch and working with horses. So you just put that long rope, and I mean this is probably 15, 20 feet, through that tab. So now you've got the dog suspended through two ends. To do the bee line, you need two people. You have one person at one end, and you're going to put a couple of knots in the end so that you have a bit of a handle. Something like this, so that you have a good grip on it, or you can hold it here and then slide down. So you're going to do that on both ends. See, we have two knots, just a regular knot. So see how this slides through the dog? So if we have a super pulley dog that we just got out of the shelter, and you have a friend to work with you, because this is not something you can do without two people, you get one person on each end, and it gives the dog a lot of freedom. And that's the last thing people think they need with a pulling dog, but in fact, in this case, you're going to want to give your dog freedom. They can't stop pulling if they don't know what no pulling feels like. So you've got the dog in between the rope here, and you can tighten the rope between the two people, and that will allow the dog only so much room. We rarely do that. And what you're going to do is sort of follow the dog. It's like when I leash train my rabbits. You just go where they go. So, and then if he gets to be really pulley, and this is really tight against the two humans, you turn around and go the other way, and now the dog is behind you, and the leash goes slack. And you constantly make turns when you're doing this to keep the leash a little slack. And it gives a dog who is never off a leash a chance to feel what it's like to have a little bit of freedom. It's a great thing to help the person, because often what happens when you own a pulling dog, you are ready for that surfing, or what do you call it, behind a boat. I can't even remember what it is. Anyway, you're ready to have that dog pulling you so that you're already, pulling on the dog even when he's not pulling. So this will help the person get the experience of not having a pulley dog as well. So that's a big problem. Water skiing, that's what I'm thinking of. When you're behind the boat like this, you don't want that to be happening. You want this to be slack. No water skiing with your dog. It's bad for you, it's bad for them. No matter what your harness is, it's not a good situation. So you can see how this can move. And another great thing about this as a TTouch practitioner that I love is that it really promotes communication between the two people. So it's a really good exercise to do in a group. And if you're not communicating, the dog doesn't get, stuck in the middle, because the rope is so long and the dog usually is moving one way or the other. And as long as the people keep moving, you are able to stay with this pulling dog and help him calm down. And certainly Robin, Linda's sister, did a presentation at a couple of them actually at the celebration and showed us really bad pulling dogs, and they put this on him, and within seconds, and with good instruction from the leader of the ropes, the TTouch practitioner, the dog stopped pulling. And, then he could go back to his regular leash with the TTouch harness with the 2 points of attachment, and he was fine. So often it's just that experience of not pulling that they need to understand that they shouldn't pull. And I'll never forget a famous dog trainer that Oprah loves said about President Obama with his dog. He made a big comment like, the dog was pulling the President of the United States. We should never have a dog do that. Who's the pack leader here? Blah, blah, blah. Well, that is a very common thing. And plenty of people like me, I like my dog to walk a little bit in front of me because look how short he is. If I can't see where he is, I can trip on him. But he should do that on a slack leash. So this will help you, the person, understand what a slack leash feels like. It gives the dog a lot of freedom, and it helps the dog experience that freedom so he does not lean into the leash every time you put the leash on him. And certainly there was a guy I worked with here with a pit bull. So pit bulls now are doing kind of a ski joring thing where they pull people on bikes. Pit bulls are famous for having patella problems back here in the stifle, in the knee of the dog. And the pulling makes them walk with their feet out to the sides like this, which is really bad for the stifles. So if you've got a dog, maybe you've got a Malamute or a Husky who's literally been used for pulling somewhere before you got him, this Beeline can really help him feel what it's like to not pull, and to understand that there are two things in the world, pulling and not pulling. Pulling when you have a sled behind you or a bike behind you, but not pulling when you're walking in the neighborhood, So try this. You just need a really long, lightweight, soft rope. Unless you have a heavy, big dog, then you can use a heavier rope. And one of these swivel hooks, and you need somebody to work with you. So it's so snowy and awful here. It is absolutely frozen, worse than a lake out there right now. The dog cannot walk on the snow at all. And you need a fair amount of space to do this. Like, we have the road plowed, and we might be able to do it in the middle of the road when there's no traffic, but I'm going to try to get the Cairn Terrier up the street and her mother to come with me and try this in the yard. Now, she's never done anything like this, and that little Cairn tends to go wherever she wants, and the mom has to follow her because she's usually walks on a flexi lead. So this won't be too different for her, and I'd love to be able to record it for you guys to see how it works. Worst case scenario, we'll definitely be showing it at the Maryland TTouch training, which will be near the end of July or June this year. It's right up against the Philly Corgi picnic. But I want you to be able to see how great this works. And I'm sure there are some videos online of the TTouch Bee Line that other people have put up, so you can look for that as well. But it's a really great way to help a dog stop pulling. And you should try it. All you need is one of these snaps, which the TTouch people do sell in their store. And their ropes are soft cotton ropes in pretty colors. They didn't have any more blue ones, so I got a purple one, which is fine. You can't really see it with the sweater on, but So try the Bee Line. It's a great thing to work with in a shelter. If you've got a shelter like the one near me, where they want those dogs to get better. So if a trainer like me comes in, they let me do whatever I think I need to do to help a dog. That's what their number one thing is, help a dog. Lots of shelters, you can only use the leash and the collar that they give you with the dog. A lot of shelters won't let you put the dog in a harness, which is crazy because quite a few dogs do get out of their collars at shelters and get lost and have to be refound. So they should let you put them in a harness. We have tons of different TTouch leash configurations. We can take it from the flat collar around the chest like that to help the dog stop pulling. If that's not enough, we can put it through the front legs so that it's on the dog's chest. This would be through a collar, and control him this way so that he's not leaping and plunging. So we have many options, and a lot of these come from TTouch practitioners that work in shelters with bouncing, pulling, leaping dogs. And you know, the shelter won't let you use any equipment, anything except your hands, which are super useful for us, and also whatever you get with the dog, which is a leash and a flat collar. So check out the Bee Line. I'm sure there are videos online somewhere. I have to look and see. If I find one that's good, I will link it on my page. But it's a great way to work with a pulling dog and help him stop pulling. So if you have adopted a dog that pulls, or God forbid, one of your little guys just never really took to the leash and pulls, try out the Bee Line. So tomorrow, as I said, we will be from the Northampton Dog Show, so we'll be doing this later. And we are supposed to have more snow, feet of snow, which is very discouraging. So I don't know that dog show is going to take place. I think tomorrow we're only getting 3 inches, so that should be not a problem. Sunday into Monday, bigger issue. So thanks for joining us today. I know everybody else is getting snow in the mid-Atlantic today. I think my friend Rose is getting snowed on in between Scranton and Harrisburg. They keep showing Harrisburg on the news. And if it doesn't stop snowing, I'm going to be doing a lot of shoveling, because I've got to get to my propane tank and get it refilled so I can have heat in this house. And I generally fill it March 15th, which is 10 days from now. And they're not predicting it to be over 30 for over a week. So nothing's melting here. Yeah, it's snowing where Danny is. Danny, you're getting another Arctic blast, according to the Weather Channel, that will be worse than all the others and last even longer. Just really giant temperature drops. She's in the Dakotas, for those who are wondering. Bad weather everywhere. Where's spring? Thanks for joining us. We'll see you guys tomorrow, probably around 11:30. All right, bye-bye. Have a great day, everybody. Stay warm.